Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy, and check us out. Welcome to episode 4 of our new series, UX Think Out Loud. This is where I am doing realistic, though not real, UX work, and I'm thinking out loud as I go so that you can see how I work. You can ask questions. If you're not joining live, you are welcome to ask questions in the YouTube comments area, and I personally answer all questions. So this is your opportunity to learn. Please use it. I'm happy to answer any question like, why'd you do that? How'd you know to do that? What did you do there? Quick thank you to the friends of the show who help financially support it at our mid and higher levels. Anita, Chang, Darren, Ican, Irena, Jordan, Michelle, Nikki, Ralitza, Ray, Solomon, and as always, Mix Betty. Thanks to people who financially support the channel, though it's completely optional because I'm very happy to bring you guys as much free content as possible. So thanks to the people who are donating. So let's talk very quickly. If you have not seen the first 3 episodes, you are coming in late. This is the kind of thing where seeing the first 3 episodes would help. But the short version of what we've been up to is someone from the audience gave me an idea to build a time management project where worker bees have to track their time. Project managers have to track projects and how much time's been allocated for teams and different people. And then supposedly maybe senior people will want to look at some sort of dashboard as to are we going above our estimates in time and kind of get a look of what's happening there. We've already built our early concept around the worker bee, and I have moved on to the project manager interface. That's where we are. If you want to see the earlier stuff, do check out the earlier episodes in the Think Out Loud playlist over on YouTube. Please do subscribe on YouTube. I'm pressing buttons. Hello. There we go. Please subscribe on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, and please do comment after the video is done as it helps in the algorithm. If you have any questions, chances are deltacx.com/links will answer your question. How do I enter your giveaway? How do I sign up for your Acture courses? How do I ask you questions? When's your next show? What's the calendar? It's all there. So with that being said, a quick reminder that we are not sponsored over here. I am going to be building in Acture, but that is because I like Acture. They do not pay me, I pay them. I am one of their recommended trainers, but again, I pay them, they do not pay me. So this show is not sponsored by anybody, and you are welcome to use whatever tool you like for UX. If you like Acture, hey, me too. So let me slip into Acture and I'll show you what we got up to so far. And then we're going to spend about an hour building. And again, questions are welcome. So I think if I hit this button, you should be seeing, let's see. Yep. Okay. So here's me and the tip jar. Here's the chat room in case anybody wants to leave a comment or question. It should show YouTube. Let's see, it should show YouTube and LinkedIn Live and actually tweets. So let me know. I'm in Acture 10, and so what we did last time was we started working on the project manager interface, and I just made a couple of notes to myself here and here because these were things I hadn't built yet, but I wanted to build. And again, the marching orders here are mostly on the project details page. Let's see if I can click that. And by the way, you can also see the Acture prototype at xmi9z4.axshare.com. In fact, I'll load it up now and load it up again afterwards. So there we go. Okay. So you can always view the prototype and all the pages in it, and this will tell you more about what the project was, but so will episode 1. So let's take a look at the project manager version. So last time I built a repeater, and that repeater had a couple of funky things that I wanted to fix. I don't know why, but repeaters by default appear to come with a gray background, and I just want to make that white. Okay, that's going to help. Now, note that during our time together, I am not specifically teaching you Acture. You're going to watch me use Acture, but I'm not really going to take the time to teach you exactly what I'm doing. For that, you would have to take my Acture courses, and I am planning some new Acture videos for the channel. But the goal here more is for me to do information architecture and interaction design and tell you what I'm thinking, because I feel like UX education doesn't do that. They go, oh yeah, you have some ideas or research, you make some things. Nobody tells you how we got from A to B, so I'm trying to do that, and I hope others will be inspired to as well. All right, hot tea. What are you drinking? All right, so we came up with the project manager was going to need a list of projects. Some of these projects might be active, some of them might be archived. They would need to edit these projects, archive the projects, or delete them, though hypothetically, I'm not sure we would delete any project that has time associated with it. We would probably archive it. But if a project is created by mistake and has no time allocated to it from the worker bee side, then maybe we delete it. But of course, that would have to come with some sort of warning message because not everybody intends to delete it. So what I would probably do is let's build a couple of the easy things. And for example, archived. So this, we changed, so I built something last week when we did this, and then I changed my mind. Originally, I had it where if you pressed archive, it would just delete it. And now I think that instead, I want to change that. And instead, I will, let's see, let's change the edit row data. So, and this will be the table repeater, and this will be this row. And so I'm going to instead change it from an active project to an archived project. And I'll do that by writing the word archived there, which means I don't want delete. And that should work. All right, so we can also test this out. Notice that as I am designing, I am testing things out. And that way, let's see, that's over here. We can refresh this. So let's take this second project that says active, and if I click archive, it's now archived. And last week I built this little success message that comes up and hangs around a little bit and then is supposed to go away. Okay, that was a little bit too long, but yeah, there it is. We can also add a some sort of close mechanism to this so that people who don't want to wait for messages to go away could see that message go away faster if they would like to exit out. Let me drag out an X and build that out. Now remember, all the things that I'm doing are really just ideas. It's a concept. If for the process of what we're doing here together on the YouTube channel, there was no research that was done. I don't necessarily know a lot about people's mental models or how they're tracking their time now or estimating projects now. So this is really a giant bucket of guesses that would obviously have to be validated and would have been better with research first. But there you go. For the purposes of this show, we're going to do some guessing and some concepting, if that's a word, conceptualizing. So right now, I've got a closed paradigm, and I'm dropping in a hotspot on it just to have a larger tappable area. I feel very strongly that when we have small icons, small checkboxes, small interactive elements, we should put a larger tappable area on, which is easy with Acture. So I can quickly teach Acture that if someone taps this larger tappable area, hide this success message or whatever the message panel's got. And let's see, that would be a hide. And we can always do a dramatic fade out if we would like. So dramatic. All right. And I didn't build anything on the undo, so this is a little bit more of an intention rather than a functional thing right now. I can always worry about that later. Depending upon what I'm usability testing, sometimes I don't build out absolutely everything that the prototype could do. But if we did want to usability test how people reacted to something being deleted or archived, and we think they might hit the undo button, then yes, I'm going to go into my prototype and I'm going to make that undo button work. But for our time together here, I want to make sure people understand how I'm even coming up with these concepts based on the original project. Take your questions around them, and of course keep building even if my prototype isn't complete. You know, since I'm only working 1 hour a week on this with you guys watching and gals and others watching, obviously it's not going to do everything, because in a full-time job I would be spending hours a day making sure it did all the things. So we might imagine that this message, the undo, works and would undo whatever I just did. Hi, Brian. Brian says, yeah, small tap areas can be so frustrating. Exactly. And if we have hashtag empathy, then we want to make sure that both for good user experiences and for accessibility, that these things are easy to do. Hi, Madalena. Okay, so that makes that work. Delete, I wanted to put a little bit of a blocker on. So with delete, we're either going to tell people that they cannot delete this project because it has time associated with it, and would they like to archive it instead? Or we'll let them delete it because there is no time associated with it. So that means there's two possible outcomes there, and we're just going to have to pretend that some have time associated with them and some do not. So if I want to build out some different possible outcomes for this, then maybe I put some metadata into my Acture repeater that would tell me which one's got time associated with it and which one doesn't. So I'll just do that for now, knowing that it really just has this weird little behind the scenes function for me to show different possible outcomes. So let's call this column has time associated, and we don't have to connect a widget, and we will we'll just do yeses and nos. So this is just behind the scenes metadata so I can make different things function. So let's say this has time associated with it, and this does not have time associated with it. And again, the time associated with it is because we're imagining that this is a time tracking system. We don't want people to delete a project where people have tracked time. We might just want to archive that. Madalena says, who can delete projects as in permissions? Yeah, I think we talked about that early in the project details. We talked about, like, should there be levels and levels of permissions and stuff. And I think we said that for the purposes of me teaching everybody how I would approach this, we were not going to include that. So the scope of this that I've decided is we're going to allow the project manager to create projects, edit projects, archive projects, delete projects. So yeah, add, edit, delete, archive. And the harder one is going to be, and sort and filter. So that's a note over here to myself to build sorting and filtering. And then details for the project. So for example, how many worker bee hours per week are we allowing? And the project manager is also going to associate people with the project, because we said that the worker bee, we were going to utilize knowledge design, where the worker bee wasn't going to have to look up what projects they're on so they could build time to it. The system was going to know what projects they are actively part of, and that's going to come from the project manager assigning it to them. So really the worker bee one was the easiest, well, second easiest part of this. Probably the dashboard will be the easiest. So yeah, we're not going to get too deep into permissions. I'm going to assume that if you are the project manager, that if you are in the system as a project manager, which is not a screen I'm building, but if you're in the system as a project manager, you can add and edit and archive and delete here. Madeleine is right. Hypothetically, we would build out a whole permissions universe, but that's also where we would say who's even a project manager, who's even a worker bee. So again, I'm assuming that there is a system in place that already knows who's a worker bee and who's a project manager, and we're pretending they have permission to do this. Madalena says, yeah, you wouldn't want worker bees having permission to delete and change time between projects. Okay, so let's take a look at these different ways of deleting, and let's build out, some of the Acture functionality isn't as important as some of what I would build from the perspective of the interaction design. I can always make the Acture stuff work while y'all aren't looking and just show you later that I made it work. But let's say that, okay, state 1 is a success message. Too many C's. It's extra success. And then we're going to have another state. I'm trying to right click. Oh, actually, you're so grumpy sometimes. Duplicate state. So this will be the can't delete state, where I'm going to build a message to people that says you can't delete. And then we're going to need another message that says, let's see, are you sure you want to delete? So delete confirmation. All right, so let's build these out, and in Acture I can take a look at all of these at the same time, and I can kind of clean them up. So let's say, for example, that we want to give people a bit of a warning that they cannot delete. And again, normally I would also put our icons here, but again, I'm not the visual designer, but let's pretend this is a warning message and we've got a good icon here. So this might say, you cannot delete a project with allocated time or assigned, or I guess with time records. Again, I would turn to a content strategist, a content designer, a copywriter for better wording. So I never assume that my wording is the final wording. My wording is placeholder to show the intention of what I would say here, and then I always get someone better to make it better. So here I'm assuming that we cannot do what people ask. We can't delete it. There are records associated with it, but we could let them archive it. And I would hook that up to making it work as an archive. This might be another warning message. Oh, this would be a delete confirmation. No, this would be, are you sure you want to delete? So we need to get this person's attention and double check something. I'll use a bright blue. Again, ultimately, the visual designers would have a UI kit, a component library that would say what colors are different types of messages. So this is just placeholders. I would never expect these to be the final colors. I'm not working from a design system. So this would be deleting. Deleting is permanent. Are you sure? Yes. Delete. Now again, this is probably the wrong paradigm for this, but I'm just using some placeholders for now. We would probably instead pop up a more of a dialog box. So actually, let's kill this and let's build the dialog box. Now, as I've said in the earlier programs in these episodes for the Think Out Loud, sometimes I build something and then I go, wait a minute, that's not the right paradigm for this. Forget it. But I at least want to get the idea out of my head and onto the Acture screen. And because I'm building things realistically in Acture, I can pretty quickly go, oh, that's not right. And to me, that's one of the many benefits of more realistic prototyping. It's like, wait a minute, this isn't really this type of message. This is the wrong paradigm for this. So delete. And again, we might decide it's the wrong paradigm for this as well, but we can play with that later. So let's say I'm going to build a different type of message panel, and let's draw that, and let's drop it. Let's drop it over here. So now I'm creating just some message panels so that as we have people undertake some functions, we can ask them, are you sure you want to do this? And things like that. So let's just say I use a panel that's this side. This will be a confirmation panel, because we're going to ask people, are you sure? Do you want to do this? And maybe we move the archive one there as well. So let's build this out. And I can kind of copy paste from here. Let's grab like a fun background color. And again, the visual designers would be the ultimate keeper of fun background colors. I am just dropping these things in for now, just to have some shapes and some panels that we can mess with. So let's kill that. And let's say that this panel, that's a pretty terrible color. Let's change that. I'm sorry, I'm not enjoying this color at all. Let's give it softness. I could give it softness. How about soft peach? So again, these colors are pretty terrible, but let's pretend that we have a decent visual designer who's going to clean up my bad attempts at creativity. So let's say we've got some larger text, and again, the visual designer would clean up what size this is. It may or may not be an H2. You can't delete projects with time records. I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit. 47, that's pretty big. And we'll center it. Let's see. So again, what am I doing and why? When people go to delete, we're going to check, the system will check if they can even delete this thing or not. And then if they can delete it, then they'll see the "Are you sure you want to delete?" And if they can't delete it, they will see the option to archive it. So you can't delete projects with time records. Let's have a primary button that says, you know, and again, let's assume that the content person is going to make this better. Cancel, or maybe cancel is our secondary button. So maybe we say cancel, and maybe our primary is archive it, on the assumption that that's what people might want to do. Artichoke it, archive. Okay. These don't line up well. Don't worry, I tend to work in medium fidelity, and I clean it up later, especially after I've got some ideas out of my head. The whole goal when I'm doing some early concept stuff is really just to get ideas out of my head, and I can always improve on these and clean these up later. So this is part of my dynamic panel in Axure. By default, nobody can see this panel, and so we've got it hidden. And I might also want to do a quick pin to browser. Let's see, style, pin. And the pin to browser just means that it's always in a certain place on the screen. So this will be totally in the middle, center, middle of the screen. So now we can say, and let's move this guy off to the side. I don't want to accidentally bump into him. Now we can take a look at making that delete thing work. And again, some of you might be like, oh, come on, Deb, why are you building this in slow motion? Just get to the next stuff already. Because I do this as part of my real work. When I have an idea, I like to see it through in Axure so that I can run my prototype and see, do I think this is a good idea? Does this concept match the user's needs? Is this simple, easy to learn, easy to use? I'm not going to know that until I build it out in Axure and test it out. So today we're going to make this delete thing work and see how it feels. All right, so we're going to say, let's see, if people click on the delete thing, we want to show the confirmation panel telling them they cannot delete the time records. They're going to have to archive it. Hold on, I should have first said set panel state. I know that doesn't make sense to people who aren't familiar with Axure, but just trust me. So first set the panel state, then show the confirmation panel. Let's show it as a lightbox and see how we like that, because it might suck. And we'll give it a try anyway. And that's fine. That's my lightbox. Bring to front. let's see. Now, this would only happen if, let's get our conditions cooking, if time records. So if there are time records, we want to show them this message, which means I need to check. Ooh, I need to check a behind the scenes function. Let's see if I can find it here and get it working. Repeater data set. If has time associated with it equals text value, yes. Right? We wrote yes in there. Let's check. Let's see. We wrote yes for the first one and no for the second one. Okay. So that means to test this, we have to take a look at the first one. Chang, this is Acture. All right. So let's see. There we go. So yeah, that's the thing that we picked. And then we could make archiving it work, or people can click cancel. We're using a lightbox, so we're definitely stopping everything that they were doing. You know, when you use this type of modal pop-up overlay lightbox, whatever you want to call it, you are obviously distracting people, but for a reason. Stop what you're doing. You can't do anything until you pay attention here. So Madalena says, it looks powerful. Can imagine the learning curve. I teach people most of what you just saw. I teach it in 2 days, and I just did it this weekend, which is why my voice is a little raw. And I am going to do new Acture videos here. I'm planning on it. Haven't decided when. Because the last time I did a set of Acture videos was 2016. They're a little old. Okay, so how do I feel about this? It's not bad. Let's take a look at the, but again, it could be improved upon. I'm just going to keep playing with this idea until I like it. So this is the can't delete message. Now let's make a similar message, duplicate state. This will be the sure you want to delete? Are you sure? And now we can take a look at that. So this is, are you sure you want to delete this project? Now, it wouldn't normally say this project. We probably should say the actual project name. I'll fix that in a moment. Rhoda says vask.tech. That seems like spam. I don't know what you are doing, but nobody visit that site because it could be spam. Are you sure you want to delete this project? And we could say cancel, and we can say delete it. And I'm going to quickly replace this word, this project, with the actual name of the project based on what someone has clicked. So let's see if we can get that to work. Loaded, set text. This widget. Replace this with repeater. Oh, it's not giving me the I wanted the all right, so I'm not seeing, I'll have to deal with that later. I'm not seeing an easy way to swap out the name for the actual thing they've clicked. So for that, I just put my intention so that if I'm sharing this with engineering, they know what I meant. Project, number, and name. And if I can get that working later, that'll be great. But at least the intention is to not just say this project, but tell them exactly which project they're going to delete. Again, if we're going to stop people and double check this stuff, make it super clear. Don't make them go, oh, which project was this again? Make sure they know which one they're about to delete so that we can make sure that they're doing what they intended to do. So now back on the delete key, we can build the other possible outcome, which is copy paste, And this would be if time associated is no, then we would set this to, are you sure you want to delete, and bring it up as a lightbox. All right, so let's refresh this and give it a try. So if we say this one, it says you can't delete projects with time records. And if we say this one, it says, are you sure you want to delete it? So again, we're pretending that one of these has time records and one of these does not have time records. And that's the difference between those messages. Okay, so we have our fake archiving, we have our fake deleting. We can also do a quick sort and filter. Let's see, sort and filter to easily find projects, for example, active versus archived. Okay, so we're assuming the project manager, I mean, here we have 3, but the project manager could have a lot of projects here that they are trying to sort through. Let's honor some of you today with fake projects with your names on it. Let's see, where can I don't really like the way the new version of Acture handles this. I kind of miss the old way. So let's say we've got this one. This will be the Madalena project. We'll say it's active, and we'll say it has time entries, and then we'll do another one. We can say it's the Chang project. It is archived, and it has time entries. Yasir says, what are we learning today? I am continuing to do fake interaction design or real interaction design on a fake project. This was our time tracking project. This is episode 4. Please see previous episodes in the Think Out Loud playlist for what came before this. So we might want to sort these. We might want to say, I only want to see active projects, archived projects. You get your own project, Chang, no charge, or both. So I think that I will build, let's see if I already created, did I create a segmented controller ahead of time? Boo, I did not see this coming. Okay, so I'm just going to grab these guys and make a quick segmented controller, see how I feel about it. Maybe I don't like the segmented controller and we change the paradigm. But for now, for a quick and easy sort, I think I will try that. Or actually, that would be a filter. If I wanted to do more advanced filtering, then certainly there are other things that I could do. But I'm going to start with an idea for a segmented controller. And then I can do a little filtering. So let's see. Boom, boom, and boom, boom. And let's see. Oh, I did that wrong. Look at that. Oh, that looks terrible. Someone help me. That would be boom, boom. I wish people didn't make tappable areas so small, right, Brian? Especially as we get older, you know, our motor skills aren't always fantastic. So let's say these are our active projects. These are our archived projects. And so this would be by default, these look like secondaries. And let's bring them 1 pixel closer. And by default, they have an interaction style, not the mouse over, selected style, widget style, primary, okay. Okay. And let's say, well, really by default, we've got both of these as active. So I could tell Acture to make both of these selected by default. They're both lit up. And hypothetically, people could click them to remove these sorts. And I would have to build in Acture those sorts. So let's see. This is selected false. So let's say, let's try if unselected on this and see if that works. If unselected, let's see, if unselected, then we want to only sort the archive stuff. You know what? That means I probably want to create some default sorts and then kill them one by one as we go. So, hey, page load, build me some sorts on the table repeater, and oh, I'm not doing sorting, I'm doing filtering. Man, oh man, I'm sleepy. All right, stop. Filter. Add filter to the table repeater. This is going to be on the status. Equals text on widget active. Filter rule equals blah, blah, blah. Don't remove other filters. Match any, match all, or smart. Can match this filter. Okay, this is new in Acture 10. I do not know what's going on here. Oh my God. All right, I haven't played with this yet, so this is probably not going to work, and I'm going to just stop here. So basically, since I'm a little bit unsure of what Acture 10 has changed, boy, do I miss Acture 8, I'm going to leave these for now as just samples of intentions. So let me quickly just set them up so that they can toggle just to show the intention. The visual intention of them toggling. And later on, I will build this out to actually function. But at least for now, it will look like it's trying to do something, and I'll build out the functionality when y'all don't have to watch the sausage being made. But that would be the idea of this could be turned off. If you turn this off, then you've got nothing. That would be a little weird. You'd have no items here if you didn't have active and you didn't have archived, but you could have one or two or both. The yellow is my hover state. It's a little weird, but I did that for comedy. So this might be a way to sort. If I don't like this, I could change these to checkboxes. But again, the whole idea is to play with this and say, do I like the way this works? Would this be better or easier, more logical, more intuitive some way else? And maybe it would be better as checkboxes. What does the audience think? Do you like the segmented controller for this, checkboxes, or something else? Yeah, program version changes can be annoying, especially because what was there wasn't intuitive. Now I'm going to have to go Google what they did with that and what those three options meant, because I couldn't immediately tell, which means it doesn't pass heuristics. So for that, I'm going to leave that as an intention, even though I can change it to checkboxes later if I think that's a better paradigm. And we might also want to create, Nazime says, make checkboxes. Yep, we certainly could. So again, if I don't like these, I can delete them. But notice how important it was for us to have built that as a concept, and then for us to say, you know what, I don't like that. So we could say active, and then we could say archived, and we might say that's a better way to go. Archived, and maybe move them a little bit closer. So maybe that's a better way to go, but I wouldn't have really known that until I had previewed it and played with it. So again, that's where, to me, I really like the interactive thing. Oh, I half built that sort, and now it's killing my stuff. Okay, kill the sort, start again, or the filter. Okay, so these don't work, but they're just here as placeholders for what could work. Maybe I'll build this out while you're not looking. Yeah, checkboxes feel better. So I don't feel badly that I started with something else and then said, wait a minute, I think this could be a better paradigm, simpler, easier, faster for the user, and then just undo it. And that's another reason why I like to work this way. So this way may or may not be great for you, but you know, it could be. So you might also want to sort projects. People might want to sort by number order. They might want to sort by name order, alphabetical. So we would want to be building those sorts as well. So let's see. What's a good way to build a quick sort? Usually a drop list, especially if we end up adding more sorts later. Sort by client. Yeah, modeling in this case, we didn't build that out. We just gave projects a name and a number. So here I'm just going to write project number, and I'm going to write, we need another choice here. Sort by project number, sort by project name. And people would be able to grab this drop list and pull it down and choose something different. So that means we would assume this has a default sort. Let me give it a quick label over here and say sort by. And again, this is really conceptual. Some visual designer is going to drop by and make this better. But I can also say that when we load up the page, or when we load up the repeater widget, let's see, can I write this on the repeater widget? Let's do an onload, maybe do a sort, and say that our sort will be the table repeater. And by default, we're going to sort by project number. And it's going to be, let's say, descending, because maybe higher number project are newer and we want our attention on those. But again, I'm just, I'm playing around. So let's see, project number. We really need to say highest first, project number. So remember, only in doing this and building the sort did I realize, wait a minute, they might want it highest first and they might want it lowest first. And that was thanks to me building the sort in Acture and realizing that I hadn't set that up. So this would be A to Z. Oop, sorry, this would be project name A to Z, and we would add another one, project name Z to A, and move that down. And so by default, we're going to be project number highest first. Nazime says maybe later sort by employees so the manager can see the project the worker B is working on. Hypothetically, we could do that. I would probably think of that maybe as a filter, like show me everything Brian is working on. So this is our drop list. And let's do a quick preview of how this looks. Now, I didn't make this drop list work. I just made the, oop, actually, you've got my stuff out of order. What happened? What happened? I had this in a whole other order. Oh yes, filter is better. Yeah, but again, we didn't know that until we thought about it and talked about it. And so that's why going through this is important. Let's go back to this thing, table repeater, add project number, sort. Okay, so let's take another look at this. Cool. And notice that Acture did sort these. These are now sorted highest number first. If you've been watching all along, you know that these were in a different order. And so I could build it so that if people pick something else, the sort changes. And in fact, let's build that really quickly where I can say, let's see, unselected, selection changed. Okay, hey Acture, if the selection changes, I want you to remove the sort. We'll do a fresh sort. And then we're going to do a new sort. And that's going to be alphanumeric, project number ascending, low to high. So that would be if, where's my conditions? If number low to high. And that would be is selected option of project number lowest first. And okay, and I also want people to get a sense of how fast you can build with Acture once you get past the learning curve and you know what you're doing. Okay, so we've got our projects now in descending number order, and someone might want them lowest first, and there they go. Okay, that feels good. That's looking pretty good. And let's see. So what are some other things that we need to build out? So let's say we've built out our sorts and filters. So I'm going to remove this note to myself, reminding myself to build sorts and filters. Madalena says, question, if you were on your own and not live on YouTube thinking out loud, would it take you less time to prototype this? No, I mean, I'm working at my typical speed. So the only difference is if I didn't have everybody watching, I would build out realistically everything you see. I would make the checkbox work. I would make this checkbox work. I would build it so that if you unchecked both of them and now you had 0 search results, you would get a 0 results message saying this data table's got nothing, refilter. I would go a little bit further to build out all the things that I'm talking about so that I could see them in action. For example, I would build out, you can't delete, but archive, and I would have the archive button work the way this archive button works now. So where if right now I have it where if you click an archive button on something, so click it on the Madalena project, it changes it from active to archived, and then hypothetically, if we were only showing active projects, it would not be there. And I would check for that. So I would be building out much more realistically rather than staying on more of a concept level of like, okay, I know I'm putting these checkboxes here and I know what I want them to do, but I'm not totally building out what I want them to do. That would be the difference between being live on YouTube and working on my own. Okay, so we talked about the idea that projects are going to, when people enter or edit a project, so the project managers, when they enter a new project from this add new, or they edit a project, we're going to give them, can I put this where it used to be in Acture? What does this do? Boo. Can I move this? Can this go over here where it used to be? Can it go over here where it never was? Why, Acture? Why does it have to be in the middle of the page on top of everything? Why? Okay, I'm done complaining. So let's say that our project, again, for entering and editing, we want to get a project number, a project name, whether people want to mark it as active or archived, the maximum numbers of worker bee hours, the people on the project, and the maximum number of hours per person. I know, Brian. Oh, Acture. So let's start building that. And I was thinking about this earlier today. I think I want to build this. Now, of course, there's a lot of ways we could build it, and we're not going to know which one we like until we try it. And I thought about a pop-up like this message here, kind of like a modal with a light box. And then I realized I think I want it as a right panel slide out. So let's imagine that we have a right panel that's going to slide out, and let's say it's going to take up a certain part of the page. So let's say it goes from y equals 600, and let's say it goes to 600 wide, so that we've got kind of a 1200 thing going on here with smaller laptops in mind. And, we can't make it too tall. If we have smaller laptops in mind, we're going to hit that fold. So let's try this space, and if it's not long enough, we'll make it scrollable. And this would live in a dynamic panel because this is something that would appear later. So I'm going to stop and create a dynamic panel for it, and I'm going to call it right slide out panel. And let's isolate it, and let's see what would it look like to add a project from scratch. So let's say just leave that for now. Let's isolate this, and well, no, we don't want to isolate it. I want to see my list here. Okay, so we need a project number. All right, so let's get some stuff on here. And, oh, this is too big. I have made that too big. Let's try this one. Ooh. Okay, still too big, but what can I say? I'm in a big fonts mood lately. All right, so let's say this goes here and this goes here, and let's say it says project details. We know that at some point we're going to need some sort of save button and maybe some sort of cancel button if somebody realizes they don't want to, oops, I started this and I kind of don't need it. So let's just hold some space for that. Oops, wrong spot. Okay, so we'll have some sort of cancel call to action and some sort of save call to action. Ooh, actually help. And again, if you have any questions about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, please do ask. I'm monitoring the chat room, and the whole idea here is for people to learn more about UX design by seeing what I'm doing and why. So maybe this is save project, and maybe this is cancel. All right, so we said we needed a project number and a project name. Now, when we think about knowledge design, we could ask people to enter a number, but hypothetically, we would give them the next number in the system from wherever we left off. So if the last project we created was the Modelina project, hypothetically, we would then tell someone this project is 898. So we don't want to make people start guessing at numbers and then tell them that number is taken, that number is taken. We should auto-generate a number for them and let them edit it if for some reason they know that's not the right number. Modelina asks, is this a quick add option? It is the add option, and I'm hoping it will be quick and easy. Let's get a form field here, and let's... So here we go. Oop, why are you over here? So let's leave room for some labels. Let's try this over here. And of course, it is a number. This does not need to be so darn big. And Modelina says, oh my God, the cringe with the system I used to work with, it would not auto-generate the number. Yeah, exactly. Why? So I'm going to pretend that the system knows that Modelina's project was the most recent one, and we are up to 898. But again, I'm just pretending that, but I'll make it an editable field if for some reason people want to edit that. And of course, we need some field labels so that we can tell people what the heck this is. So this would be project number. And we also need project name, which is going to be more of a free form thing. I wouldn't default that to anything. I would let people write what they like. Let's give them a nice wide thing for these project names. All right, we asked if they wanted this project to be active or archived. Now that sounds like it doesn't make sense when people are entering a project. It sounds like something they might want to do if they're editing the project. So I don't want to ask them that if this is being edited. I'll ask them that I don't want to ask them that if this is being created. It's very unlikely that someone says, yes, I'm creating a project and archive it immediately. Possible, but really unlikely. So let's not ask people for a piece of information we don't need. But if the project already exists and someone wants to edit it, then they might want to change it to archived. What is the maximum number of worker bee hours per week? All right, let's copy and paste this. And as for the maximum number of worker bee hours per week, this is another area where Larry would probably tell us, let's use an intelligent default. So let's imagine and again, this is something I'm imagining. So let's see, hours per week, or maybe I call it total hours per week. You know, again, we can argue that later. Maybe the system knows on average, we tend to have 8 people on a team and they tend to be allocated 100%, or they tend to be allocated 50%. So our average team is X number of hours per week, and it could put that in for them. So this is an intelligent default where the system knows what the average tends to be. And again, if it's wrong, we can just change it. But maybe we know that on average, we have 8 workers, 4 are full-time and 4 are half-time. So that would be 4 people at 40 hours and 4 people at 20 hours. Some quick math tells me that would be 240 hours, 240 people hours per week. Let's put that in as an intelligent default, knowing that this is an editable field and people could change this. All right, now we need to know which people are on the project. And how do we make this? And the max number of worker bee hours per person. So let's start with a little thing here that says, let's start with project staff or project workers or whatever. And what I would probably build here, and y'all can give your opinion, is I would probably build a searchable drop list. You know, the way that when you type in Google, it drops something down and it starts looking for people who match the thing. So I might build something like that. I think Acture 10 has like a library of common things, including that. Let's see, where did they put it? I haven't tried the Acture pre-made one yet. I'm just curious what it looks like. Normally I would just build my own, but if it saves me time, and this is just an idea. Oh, predictive search. Predictive search. Predictive search. What does this one look like? Okay, so let's say we've got some workers. Our workers are Larry, Marine. Our workers are Debbie, Levitt. Our workers include, let's look at some names here. Hope you don't mind if I put you on the screen. Madalena. Maybe we get Chang back in here. All right, let's see if this thing works, because this is something Acture created, and I don't even know if this works. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Cute. All right, so we'll put this in just as a conceptual thing. But the idea would be that people could choose this, and then they choose Larry. But the weird thing here is that after you're done, it still looks like you've searched for him. But let's try it anyway. So let's say that we've got a Larry or whomever. Okay. This is bigger than our panel, so I'm going to need a fit to content. No, not you. Panel, fit to content. Hello. There we go, fit to content. Okay, let's make this thing a little bit bigger to fit this Acture thing here. Okay, let's grab cancel and move it down. Oh, Acture, not today, Satan. Anyway, what I would really do here is I would start with a smaller panel, and as you add more people, I would make the panel larger and everything would move down. But again, I'm just working now on concepts. So we've got project staff, and we have, let's call it max hours per week. And that way we can say this person only works this number of hours. Let's drop this here. And let's say by default we put in per week, 40. All right. Yeah, some of this doesn't line up beautifully. A visual designer will help me with that. So hypothetically, this would look like this. And we could say Madalena is going to work 40 hours per week. And then I'd probably have like a plus that shows me another one of these, right? There'd be like a plus and a trash can so that I could erase that person or I could add another person, right? Everybody with me? So let's grab this trash can over here just for a copy and paste moment. Paste. It's a little bit big. I've probably made icons that are too big, but just stick with me. And the trash can has an interaction on it left over from there, so let's take it off. So that's my oversized trash can, which I will leave for comedy. And let's go over to icons and let's grab a, what was my other option? Oh, plus. Yeah, let's do a plus and a trash. That's a little bit too big. Our trash can is 30 high, so let's make our plus 30 high so that they look like they belong in the same cinematic universe. I don't really have them spaced out well enough, so what I'd probably do is make this thing a little bit narrower if I felt I didn't have people with long names. But again, if you have people with long names, you've got to keep it wide. So maybe instead, I'll just make this whole panel wider. That way I've got some good, what happened to my fit to content? Fit to content actor. Just want to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and take this to the end. And that way I've got a little space there to space out these guys correctly. If you have studied interaction design, then you know that it is recommended that icons have at least 44 pixels of space between them. Especially if this is going to be mobile friendly, for fat fingering. Yes, we very often make interfaces that have super close icons, but we're kind of not supposed to do that. And I know a lot of people complain about things like Microsoft Teams, where share your screen and leave the call are right next to each other and people keep clicking the wrong one. Nazime says, says, feels like the plus might work better if closer to the name field. I don't know. We could do that. We could put the trash out to the side and put the plus closer in. And again, isn't it great that we can test out these ideas and change them as we go? And then what I would probably do is, again, just to show the concept, I would probably take this thing without the cancel button and copy paste it. Whoa, too many things. Let's try again. Not you, group that, copy paste, and put another one, and Nazame. Okay, thank you. Or is it Nazame? Let me know where the accent is there. This needs a bring to front. Okay, got it. And now these go here as well. Blah, blah, blah. Not doing well lining things up. I should have copied and pasted all of them at the same time. And we are running out of time, so let me quickly say that this Think Out Loud is going to go on a little bit of hiatus for the holiday season. I will be back working on this stuff. Oh, I don't want the cancel button in there. Unselect cancel. Can I unselect it? No. Oh, Acture. Nazame. Okay, thank you. I will be back on January 3rd to continue building this. So I'm just going to finish a couple of last things and then we'll call it a show. And let's get this in a dynamic panel. So I can call this Project Staff 2 panel. Hidden by default, interactions, plus, on click, show, 2, project panel 2, show with a dramatic fade in. So dramatic. All right, let's see how this looks. Okay, we've got a person and we want to add another person. Bum, bum, bum. So again, if I were really building this out, I'd probably build a shorter panel. And then as people add more people, the panel keeps getting longer. Right now, I just built a whole bunch of blank space, but that wouldn't be normally what we would do. All right, so this has probably gone far enough. Let's build one last thing together while we're all here. Let's grab, no one can see this panel by default. Boom, you are out of here. Now I can drop a hotspot on the add project. This, yeah, so this is a hotspot. It goes up here on the add new. Check me out with my large tappable area. I'm so generous. And let's say when people click that hotspot, we're going to show the right slide out panel with an animation to slide it left. And that's good enough. And oh, we could also say bring it to front just in case. Just in case I accidentally build something on top of it. All right, go. Okay, it's not here. I want to add a new project. Boom. And you know what? One more thing. Let's pin that to the right side of the screen because that's what it would normally look like. Pin to browser. Pin right. Yeah, let's try that. Cool. All right, what do y'all think? I'm sorry we went over time, but I think we got some good work done on this week. And hopefully, again, watching me build out loud is helping everybody learn a little bit more about design and design decisions and how I'll throw stuff on the screen and try it out in action and then go, no, let's do something different. Also, I'll sometimes throw things on here that aren't pretty or beautiful or lined up or perfect because I just want to make it better. Let's go back to Giant Me. I just want to keep working on it and making it better until I go, yes, this is fast, easy, intuitive, easy to learn, easy to use, satisfies the user goals or exceeds them, meets the business requirements and all that stuff. Brian says, thanks for going over time. More to learn. Madalena says, this is awesome. Thank you. So again, this is going on a little bit of a holiday break. I will be back on January 3rd to continue building this same thing. And basically, we're going to build it until it's done. And then I'm going to ask y'all for a new project. So this will be a recurring series on most Mondays starting in 2022. So if you want to learn by watching me think out loud and building, please drop by. You can also see these archived in the YouTube playlist. And of course, the best thing you can do for the channel is please tell your buddies, tell people you went to boot camp with, tell people in your Slack channels that there are more ways to learn. This one's totally free. Yes, it's an hour or so each time I do it, but I say, hey, imagine it. It's a free thing. You're getting free stuff. So that's it for me. I will be back tomorrow because I hear today is Monday, though I can't prove it. I will be back tomorrow doing office hours, Ask Me Anything, which is every Tuesday, and I take all of your questions live. And I'm also going to start taking Ask questions live. So whether your question is about CX or UX, work, leadership, jobs, portfolios, careers, resumes, problems at work, or Axure, I'll be taking all of those questions on Tuesdays. If you're trying to build something in Axure, you don't know how, you can now add those questions as well. Wednesday, Larry Marine will be back on a micro lesson with on prioritization, how to prioritize things you're considering building and doing. That'll be in the micro lessons playlist afterwards. And of course, Friday the 17th, rescheduled office hours, Ask Us Anything with the awesome Darren Hood and Dr. Nick Fine. So that is this week's program. And quickly, Monday the 20th, my boyfriend will be teaching everybody how to make their portfolio in the free version of WordPress. So if you're working on a portfolio and if you're struggling in WordPress, come to that. Totally free help. All right, I'm going to play us out of here, and I hope to see y'all tomorrow for office hours. Thanks and goodbye. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are